I'm impressed with these ancient Egyptians. This is quite good fun. That's incredible. I am so astounded by that. Today's video is a little bit different. We're going to try and learn how to lay bricks using 4,500-year-old tools. When I say 4,500-year-old tools, I mean technology from the ancient Egyptian era. So I have a level here that will check for plumb, and I have a level that will check for level. I'll just briefly explain how I built these, and then we'll get on with the build. So this one is it's all built out of 4x2. It's just a long piece of 4x2, two pieces cut off at around about 100 mil. The top one is 1 millimeter bigger than the bottom one, so that when you dangle it over, I'll explain how all these work as we go through, but it gets a better reading that way. So, and then just screwed them together, and then drilled a couple of holes in the top to run the bit of brick line through, and tied on a counterweight on the end. I don't have any plumb bobs, so I just had to use a couple of nuts. And with the level, I used, again, one long piece of 4x2, cut on two pieces of 4x2 cut at 45 degrees, screwed them all together, and again, drilled a hole through the top, counterweight at the bottom, and that should, as long as that string line is in the middle, that should tell you that it's level. That's the theory behind it anyway. The main thing we want to do here is see how accurate they were, and we'll also just see how difficult it is to actually use them. So let's get straight on with the build. Now the build, I'm not going to make it too difficult, because I think the difficult part of it is going to be using these tools, but I think it's kind of fitting that we try and build the Great Pyramids of Giza. So let's get straight on with it. Well, the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to sort of put a border around this whole thing. I'm going to try and make it look like a bit like a picture frame. So what we're going to do is the whole build itself, like the actual pyramids themselves, are 6.5 bricks long. So if we mark out 6.5 bricks first, and then I know I'm going to put a contrasting brick around the outside as like I said, like the picture frame. So if we can work out 6.5 bricks first, which is 6.5 is from there to there. So that I know is where the actual pyramids themselves are going to sit, but they're going to be up a few courses. I want to put some brickwork through the bottom and round the outside. So first off, I guess we infill that with a few bricks. Now I am not only going to use these two tools. Basically the tools I'll use is I will use a tape measure, because I'm pretty certain that the ancient Egyptians had some form of measuring device. If they could make these, then they pretty much had their equivalent of a tape measure. I'm also going to use string lines, and obviously I'm going to use a brick trowel. Now apart from that, I'll probably use a jointing iron as well, but apart from that, those will probably be the only sort of tools I use. Now bricklaying tools haven't really changed over the course of hundreds of years, unlike chippies or electricians. Well, I suppose electricians weren't really around a few hundred years ago, were they? Anyway, my point being, ancient Egyptians would have had some sort of tools that were very similar to this, so I feel like it's only fair that I use them. Now, the fun part that I feel like we're going to get is trying to work out what's level here, because I don't have a boat level to check if that's level. I guess that's the fun of doing this. So what we'll do, we'll cheat a little bit. We'll gauge that up 75. That's 75 on both ends. Now I know that this platform is ever so slightly leaning this way and that way, so that the water runs off it. So the whole thing might be a fraction out, but in all honesty, I don't know. I haven't got a clue how level or plumb or whatever any of this is going to be, because these, I haven't got a clue how accurate they are. I haven't tried them or checked them or anything like that, because that would defeat the fun of making this video. So we're just going to plod along and see what happens, really. I got the idea of this actually from Instagram. There's an Instagram post that I saw. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. And I just thought, I like the look of that. Let's see if we can sort of recreate it in some way. And like I said, I thought, build the pyramids of Giza, because, well, you can't really get more Egyptian than that, can you? Apart from the Sphinx. That was always a difficult one to spell. The fucking waffling starting already, isn't it? Right, so that'll be the bottom course, and now we're going to go 3 courses in the heathers to start the actual build itself. And this will be, like I said, the border to the, I'm not going to call it a painting, because it's not really a painting, is it? It's just a load of brickwork. Right, before we go too far ahead, let's see how the first how the first one goes, how it fares. Right, so how, from my understanding and how this works, oh, there's a lump in the middle there. Well, that's better. So what we do, I'll bring you in and show you in a second, but you level it over as you would do normally. Piece of string runs down the middle, and as long as it's down the middle, that should read level. So I'll bring you in and show you. So like I said, it is on the wall, like so, and then we have where the two 45s meet each other. This should, once it's stopped moving, should go down that line, and that should read level. Right, so now that we've checked that for level as best we can, what we're going to do is I'm going to go along, pretty much I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do one course at a time until we get to the actual build of the pyramids, then I'll rack it back and just run it through with the string line. In fact, it might be easier and quicker to just build a corner at each end, you know. Should we build a corner? Yeah, let's build a corner. Yeah, we'll do it that way. We'll build a couple of corners. Actually, I'll tell you what, I better run one course right the way through so that I know it's good. No, in fact, I'll do it the even easier way. I'll do it with a tape measure. Right, so as long as we follow that, we should be pretty good. Right, let's have a quick test. See what the old Level's saying, the old Gary Neville. Gary Neville's been around for a long time, hasn't he? Old Phil and Gary. Do you know what? We're going to call this Gary. How the hell do you spell Neville? N-E-V-E-I-L-L-E. Gary Neville. There we go. Good old Gary. Right, now I will show you how this other one works. Before we go too mad, we have to write the name on this one. Phil. Is it P-H-I-L or two L's? P-H-I-L. I'll give him two L's. It probably should have been one. Phil, how did I spell Neville? N-E-V-E-I-L-L-E. That looks about right to me. Right, so the younger brother Phil, I think he's the younger brother anyway. So what we do is we put that up against the brickwork, and from what you can see there, I'll bring you in closer in a second, it is not anywhere near plumb. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with these ancient Egyptians. This is quite good fun. It's just, you guys just got to wait forever for the bloody thing to stop moving. God, this is going to take all day. Right, I'll bring you in and show you exactly how this works, or how I think it works, and we'll move on to the other side. So we have the tool itself all the way up against the brickwork. Line comes out the top, through a little hole I drilled, straight down, and the idea is this bottom one should be probably a lot closer to the bit of wood than that actually. Probably about a mil off, because if I've made this top one a millimetre bigger, the piece of wood sticks out a millimetre more than this bottom one, it should just not be touching the piece of wood, like as if you were laying to a line. You want that piece of wood the same distance away from laying to a line as you would do with this piece of wood here. So that is a little bit out of plumb. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same on this corner, but I will probably just build it, because you've seen me how to do one side, you don't really need to see me how to do another side. So I'll probably just time lapse it and speed it up. So let's go with that. Anyone got any good tips on how to get smudges out of sand-faced bricks? Hopefully we shouldn't have too many on here, but do you just wash it down afterwards? Wait for it to go off, stiff brush? Yeah, be interesting to know, because I always find that sand-faced bricks like these, once you smudged it, that's it, you're pretty much game over. That's where the brick acid comes out. Right. I think we're good there. So now let's start building the actual pyramids. What I will probably do, because this is going to be quite a tricky build, is I've shown you how these tools work. So what I'm going to do is I will probably do this time-lapsed, or not really a cinematic, but I'll film it and build it. There probably won't be much of me talking over it. I'll just do the actual build and then we'll discuss it once it's done. See what you all think, and then we'll go through and see, we'll get the real levels out, get the stabilers out and check this, see how plumb or not plumb it turns out to be. So right, let's get on with the building of the actual pyramids. Before we get on with the main part of this build, I just want to say that YouTube is showing me that around 80% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So if you'd like to show your support for the channel, go down below, hit that subscribe button. It really does go to help massively what I do on this channel. That being said, let's build these pyramids.
Out in stormy weather, I might have the blues, but nothing ever stopped me from dusting off my shoes. You might think you'll see me falling to the ground, but I threw up my umbrella when rain stops hitting town. On a bad day, on a good day, I don't need no sunshine, 'cause I'm dancing with the rain. You will see me running, thinking I might be insane. I don't need no sunshine to keep me going strong. I just need my happy face to keep me moving on. Looking out the window, reflecting who I am. No one ever stopped me, not even Uncle Sam. Life might be a struggle, life might be a fight, but I am here to show the world that I can make it right. On a bad day, on a good day, on a bad day, rain keeps raining.
And there we go, there's the panel with the ancient Egyptian pyramids. Now we're going to go around and check all the plumbs and levels now, and we'll see exactly how accurate the ancient Egyptians were. Well, the first one we'll do is we'll go across the top with Gary. Where is Gary? We'll see what Gary is saying to start with. Right, so we'll give that a second just to go, well, stop moving, I guess. Right, now as you can see, that is bang on that centre line on that 45. Even if I tip it forward ever so slightly, just so that it's not touching, Gary Neville is saying that is level. Right, let's put the actual Gary on it and see how it looks. Right, we'll get you out of here. We'll get this old bad boy. I tell you what, for those of you who like it, now those Egyptians, I've got a lot of good things to say about those Egyptians. That's perfect, bang on level. You couldn't have asked for any better. That's perfect. Well, I'm actually blown away by that. I'm very impressed. Yeah, look at that, pyramids are perfectly level. Right, now the difficult one. We'll check the plumbs on this side and the return as well. So we'll get Phil out this time. Now, I thought that Phil was going to be more accurate than Gary, but after seeing what Gary was capable of, do you know what? I reckon Phil's going to be the inaccurate one. Right, so first off, we'll go up this side. This is the trouble, because this is going to take forever to go slow. Right, we'll wait a second while that stops wobbling around. Right, they stop moving. As you can see, that's right, pretty much right up. There's a little gap at the top there, right up against that, a bit of brickwork. And if we look at this bottom, it is ever so slightly off that bit of timber at the bottom. So my guess is that's pretty much plumb. We'll do the same to the front. Well, while we wait for that bottom bit to just finish wobbling, look down that side. The only brick that's a little bit out is that top one, because that's where that knot is that I tied in there for the string. So it's pushed that brick over a fraction. But if you look down here, that is, in my opinion, I would say perfect. It's only just, I don't know if you can see that on there, but it's only just a Rizzler paper width away from that bit of wood. So I would say that these two are pretty much plumb. Right, let's get the real Gary on it and have a butcher's. Right, we'll go with this side first. Foot on the bottom. There's a little bit of a gap at the top here, but that, a little tap, that is pretty much bang on. I am very impressed with that. And now we'll try the front again. Up on there. That one is actually perfect. I'll tell you what, Stabila, you've got your work cut out for you here. That's incredible. I am so astounded by that. Right, with the other side, I'm not going to bother going up against with that. Well, let's just put the level on it and see what it says. Right. That's a fraction over, but I'm not being funny. A little tap with a trowel, and that'll probably come up trumps. And then the front. There's a little gap at the top, tiny little gap there. Don't know if you can see that, but I'll tell you what, within the lines, touching the line, I'm absolutely astounded by how accurate they are. They take a lot longer to use because you've got to wait for that bit of cord, bit of string to stop wobbling around. But I'm speechless though there. I'll tell you what, let's try it in the middle, just to have a butcher's. Cool. Bloody bricks, get out of here. There's a little bit off the top there, but touching the line, I'll tell you what, a blind man would like to see that. I am absolutely astounded about how accurate they are. Who'd have thought it? Now that I'm speechless really. Well, it turns out those ancient Egyptians knew exactly what they were on about. I'm so surprised these turn out to be as accurate as they are. I'm going to go ahead and put these yellows round this to frame this off nicely. I'm going to be uploading a few pictures of it over on Instagram, so if you would like to go and check those out, then my Instagram is Rodian_builds. Go and follow me over there. If you would like to learn how to lay bricks, then you can click this playlist here for the Bricklaying for Beginners. If you are interested in picking up any of the off the trail merch, then click this link here. This will take you to the store. That being said, subscribe down below to join the Brick Army, and I will see you all in the next one. So take care. See you then. Ta-ra.